Hello, I'm Joel,
I'm Bruce, also known as artist and producer Chimeras.
and this is my first YouTube video. So, just want to let you know that this is for entertainment purposes, but also a little bit of education. Coming from a personal experience as an artist agent and advisor in the music industry. This was obviously my first client, and we're going to kind of go through and describe the journey that it takes to get to where we've gotten. Obviously, it'll be a series of videos and kind of describing in each series the obstacles and the highs that we faced along the way through this journey.
Mostly based off experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Mostly.
Yeah, definitely. So when this journey first started, it was basically, I came from a place of being a musician myself. I played guitar, and so I really had this passion for more like rock and roll style music. And so one day, I ended up purchasing a piano, which ended up, like most musicians, you put that instrument away and you forget that it's even there. And as an entrepreneur, having, a mindset of creation and going through, emotion of, okay, trying something and then moving on. Needless to say, my son ended up finding that piano. And
I don't know how I found that. It was in the closet. I don't know how, but I found it, and I just picked it up and started learning it.
Yeah.
All together.
Exactly. And, because of the fact that his love and his journey in music was all about, finding his way, I started to see the growth in his talent and his passion in that creativity, in the music that he was playing. And I started to kind of see something happening. And, during this period of like discovery on what he was doing and myself as a business owner, I also had attended college for business and entrepreneurship. So I had this idea of, kind of like a direction as I saw him growing, that I was like, I think that we might be able to do something with this. What it looked like, I didn't know. I knew nothing about the music industry. I was just kind of formulating things out, and he was so young that it was one of those journeys that, you're just trying to piece things together one day at a time and kind of throw things together in a blender and hope that it works. And so I needed to understand his talent. I needed to look at what he was doing, some of the bands that he liked. What was the first band that you truly liked?
Well, I usually listen to mostly what what you guys listen to, what my parents usually listen to, or whatever was on the radio. But I like 21 Pilots. That's how I really got how I started with the piano, because in most of their songs, the lead singer would play the piano. I saw that as an opportunity to, keep learning. So
Absolutely.
It just transitioned throughout the years. But I'll get into that.
Definitely. And, when I realized that transition as his father, being able to see him day in and day out, grow in music. And I remember him spotting his first MPK, which is like a mini piano essentially,
It's more like a MIDI controller or something like that. So like from beat creation or something. I was stupid. I thought it was a DJ controller. I didn't know anything, but
it was great. It was the beginning of the journey, because at that point we realized, wait a second, his passion is something deeper than just, I want to learn, an instrument. We went down the road of purchasing a full set of drums. We already had the guitars, and then when he wanted that MPK, we had a laptop, so we kind of started developing this idea of what he was looking at doing, like his direction. It was more for fun, but again, as an entrepreneur, I'm kind of thinking outside the box on this. I'm like, okay, let's see what happens with this. Let's develop this into something a little bit bigger. And I remember he had kind of a passion that developed over time for FL Studio, which is for music production.
I had a friend that introduced me to FL Studio, because I told him about I wanted to get into like how music was made. And at that time I was more into more pop genres, like hip hop, even Spanish music like reggaeton and stuff like that. And so when I got FL Studio, that's when it really I started learning more about how music is made. I first thought that you click a button and boom, you got your whole beat, you got your bass line, all the melodies. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, bro, original, that's not really original, because it's not really yours, but I don't know why I thought that way. But you gotta go step by step, and I put it away for a couple months, and then I came back, and that's when I first learned how to loop a beat, because I didn't know how to really work with FL Studio. But then I got a hold of it, and then it started moving on from there.
Absolutely. And it was a great journey, because you learned a lot, and I definitely learned a lot. I knew nothing about the music industry, the music business. I was coming from a place as a music fan and a musician, so I knew what I knew. He was all of a sudden developing this skill set as a producer and creator through the digital aspect, and I had never recorded music, and suddenly he's developing that level of diversity in his direction. And so essentially I had to begin to go down the rabbit hole and understand releasing music. And I think that's where it really caught me off guard, because I was all of a sudden learning about areas like CD Baby and DistroKid, the two solid platforms that you can put music on. And I'm like, wait a second, this is something's happening here. We're developing the skill, and I'm learning more through this journey. The thing about it is that I had to really understand, which I already had some knowledge on the branding side of what he was doing and what we were kind of developing into as a team. Yeah, I've been working with my son for a while now in the music industry, and so we kind of developed this not only father-son relationship, but also kind of where I came in as a manager, and I was like, okay, almost like an agent. I wasn't necessarily a manager, so to speak. It was more like, okay, what are we doing here? How are we going to piece things together? What does that look like? And I had to develop this mindset of now I'm not working with an employee, I'm working with my son, but he's developing a skill, and something much larger. So then, as we started to build his brand, we had to develop his name, which is Chimeras. And, explain Chimeras.
So Chimeras is like it's a creature with a lion, a snake, and what, a bird too.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was the lion, the snake.
Yeah. So we made it a long time ago, but when we made it, or even said the word, I was like, yo, that sounds nice, because like I'm a producer and I'm really just getting into like genres yet. So like I'm just doing EDM at that time. I'm doing pop. I'm doing all these other genres. I could diversify myself, and with the instruments that I play too, it's not like I just do digital music and digital sound and all that. So I get down with piano, I get down with drums. So like that's what I thought at the moment, I mean, that's what I still do think, but right now, you grow and you find the stuff that you are good with. It's not that you can't do them, it's just
you grow into it.
Yeah, you grow into it. You find the genres that you find the things that you stick close to, and you work off of that. But I'm not saying that takes away from my name, okay? You know what I mean? Like, it's just
absolutely.
It
It was developing off of what he was branding, essentially his name.
Yeah.
Diversification, multi-genre, multi-instruments, so it wasn't just
try to diversify.
Exactly.
Just keep it.
Yep, definitely.
In a way.
So, through this journey, then we had to develop, social media, and I began to understand, okay, we got to create his artist page through Facebook, and then we split off into Instagram, which I understood that, and that really helped begin that transition from, this singularity into branching off so that others understood what he was about as a producer, not just an artist. And then once we started developing this whole theme and we started actually releasing a few songs, what I started to do is understand the recording, mixing, and mastering process, and same with Chimeras. He had to really understand that and develop the skill set. And so he spent, a few years just understanding the mixing and mastering process. It wasn't just overnight. It took a lot for him, especially after school. He would come home and he would, he had a full passion for it.
It was mostly just self-training at that point, because YouTube, it's like if you're trying to learn something, the first place you're going to probably go to is Google or YouTube. That's really how I learned most of my skill sets.
Definitely.
And just getting through it, just learn how you would do it personally. But it's like going out to the car, back and forth to the studio, and when you're mastering, why does this sound quiet in the car when it sounds perfect in the studio? It's just, those are the problems usually that you get when you mastering or something, or when you think it sounds like cool in here, and then you go to the car, you go somewhere else, and it's just, man, this is really muddy, and I can barely hear the vocals.
And you also
the snare's trash, and it's just like.
And you also learned from other artists too on developing that skill set.
Oh yeah.
That was like.
Well, mostly different artists, as in, because I didn't really meet so many producers. The people around me are mostly just artists, or like the skill set. They're not just artists. That's what they do. All right, but like I, as the producer, this is what I know.
Exactly. So he was developing the skill set, and as it diversified from an artist to a producer, he surrounded himself with other artists that had kind of the same mindset, which helped him develop his skill set a little bit faster. And we'll be able to talk a little bit further about that. But also something really important is, you know, the initial stage of creating music wasn't just, we're going to release music. I started developing panels, meaning I would have people, not family, not friends, you know, coworkers, people that I knew that weren't like super emotionally connected to me, where they're going to give me like, oh, that's amazing, or anything like that. They could give me a real solid opinion, and I would ask questions. 3 main questions every time I'd have someone listen to his music in the very beginning. And these are the hardest questions, because no one wants to be turned down. No one, they want to feel accepted. They want to feel like people are going to listen to their music. You're trying to build a fan base, and nobody likes rejection. Nobody likes rejection. And I think that was something that we were going to have to accept in this journey. And the 3 questions were, did you enjoy the song? Would you listen to it in your free time or on the weekends? And would you put it on rotation? And 9 times out of 10, 2 of those answers were no. You know,
yeah,
did
so
you
the
enjoy?
thing about it was, you know, hold on, we cannot let this slide right here. I'm not gonna lie, you know, I was a little underdeveloped, you know, as an artist, you know, as a, you know, where I was, you know, but now, you know, I've gained more experience. You know, you talk with people, you learn from different artists, you know, and then you understand, you know, what do people like to hear, you know, what is this chorus trash, or is this lyric like gonna go in with this verse over here? So you got to really watch out on how you structure, you know, the songs, you know, because the music is what keeps the people coming in, you know. And
but
so,
in your initial stages,
I did not know that.
Yeah, exactly.
I did not know none of that. I was just,
you were learning.
I did it, but I didn't know, you know, what I was doing. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, this is nice, until I met this one, you know, person that gave off this information, and you know, and he's like, hey, maybe you should. Maybe they didn't even say it, you know. I just kind of studied the way how they might have done something, you know, and that really made me think about how I write my lyrics or sing my melodies or something like that. Absolutely. That's just really like the helpful part of being around like different artists or different or people that do the same thing as you.
Exactly. That's exactly it. So, and again, going back to those questions, you know, like, did you enjoy the song? So many times the answer would be, yeah, I enjoyed the song. Everybody enjoys music. The other 2 questions, would you listen to it in your free time or weekends, or would you put it on rotation? The answer was no. There was a lot of rejection there. And so, you know, we had to go back. We had to look at why. That's like the question, why? Why? And those were questions I would ask. Why? Like, what did you not enjoy about it? Was there a particular point in the song that maybe didn't resonate with you, and you just kind of like fell away from it? You know, you zoned out. And so we had to find those things out. And you know, I again, going back, you know, when we talk about connecting with other artists, you know, a lot of it was when I was releasing music, and I got on his Facebook page, and because I was controlling his Facebook page at the time, he was more focused on just having fun with music, producing, and you know, I was getting feedback and kind of building this brand, this foundation idea, you know, of what he was about, you know, what he was trying to create. If we're going to create longevity in the industry, there were certain things that we had to do. One is networking. You have to network in this industry, because if you don't, you're gonna stay in your backyard the whole time. You'll stay in your backyard, and that's that. You're gonna only create what you know, and oftentimes it gets very stagnant. So there was a musician that contacted me when we first started, Robbie Quintana, and Quintana.
My bad.
You're good.
You
You're
got
good.
it. I just had to say it. My
His
bad.
last name always
I
gets me.
tripped.
But he was, he played in a band. His son's a traveling musician, amazing individual, and he basically wanted to help mentor Chimeras. He wanted him to, understand not what he was playing, but why he was playing it. And I think that kind of began the development of who he was as, both sides, as an artist, as a musician, and as a producer, because, having those skill sets really, as anyone knows, the more skill sets you have, the better you're able to develop and keep your journey going. The next one was DJ Preston Lee. He worked at a radio station. He contacted me, and he was like, "Hey, I want to work with Chimeras and get on one of his songs." I was really thrown by that. I was like, "Wow, okay."
Yeah, 'cause at that time, I was trying to get into recording vocals and just mixing vocals. That's what I really wanted to do, and just take that step into being that artist, But just releasing beats on SoundCloud, that's how DJ Preston Lee really got the collaboration, or which one that he wanted to work with me and stuff like that. So before all that, I was releasing beats on SoundCloud, so that's why.
Definitely. Yeah,
I forgot to mention that. My bad.
You're good.
That's how it really started. Before we started really releasing music,
Definitely. And what DJ Preston Lee taught me in the initial stages was I needed to, read more about the music industry, because at the time he was working for a radio station, and I began to think a lot about that and kind of figure out, okay, wait a second, I need to learn about this. I need to understand this. We had an artist out of Florida, Brave the Pharaoh, that worked with Chimeras, as a feature artist, came in on one of his songs. It really transitioned, and it was a good momentum, into building, some strict direction, and kind of figuring out, okay, these are the things that we didn't have before, and these are the things that we're developing now, and it continues to move in that direction, learning, understanding, building, and the branding also. And then another artist that came into our life was Bamboo. Bamboo was very, and still is, very influential in Chimeras' journey.
Yeah,
because
that's the bro right there. That's like a brother to me right there. Bamboo, he's a Latin artist, which it kind of transitioned my music into Spanish, because before all that, with Brave the Pharaoh, Preston Lee, I was working with English, just really in that language, and it allowed with Bamboo and other artists. Really, when we met Bamboo, that's when most Latin artists came in, and that just kind of flipped both sides. We got English speaking artists over here, and then we got Latin Spanish speakers over here, so that just allowed the bridge, and my mother being from Puerto Rico, so that was everything over. So
absolutely. So the networking, again, you have to network in this industry, because if you don't, you get very stagnant. All you see is your backyard. That's really about it. You don't develop, and you can't understand your true direction. You just kind of are picking off of small things here and there, and it takes you a lot longer to develop those skills, and you might end up losing your passion because this is all you know. And so it's really important in the music and entertainment industry, again, network. Can't stress that enough. So this kind of concludes my first video. Thank you so much. If you have been through this whole video, we appreciate you. You know, please like and subscribe. You know, we'll hopefully you'll see another part of the series, and in the next video I'm actually going to talk about, you know, Khmer's branding a little bit more in depth, and the highs and the lows, and some of the things that, you know, his accolades have been very, very generous, especially being 18 years old in this industry and starting out, and the things that he's accomplished have been very strategic, but also have taught him a depth of understanding about so far, and again, me too, because I'll go into my journey a little bit more about what it takes to make it in this industry, and hopefully you'll follow our journey, and you know, we'll work on the next level.
Oh yeah, you know, it's not so much also about business, you know, it can be on a personal level too, you know, like experience and how you might feel actually, because if you don't feel like, you know, if you really don't got it in you anymore, it was just maybe hypothetical or anything, I really don't know how it's going for you or anything. I hope it's going good. You know, I really do hope it's going good.
We hope it's going good for you.
Of course, I'm not complaining about that. You know, but yeah, that's just, it can be on a personal level and also business level. So, and all that takes time, really. So it's not going to be. I mean, it could be. You give yourself a year or two. You know, you could definitely be the next big artist. I don't know, but it's really about how you do it. You know, who you know, and stuff like that can be very difficult also. So
the journey is very long, strategic, and hopefully in your dreams of being a musician or whatever part of the music industry, that we hope that you do succeed in that journey. So again,
hit that like button, follow for more content.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.